She stared at the hospital ceiling, exhausted, trembling, and still trying to catch her breath after the most intense hours of her life. The cries of her newborn daughter filled the room softly now, bundled in a warm blanket beside her. Alina had imagined this moment so many times, holding her baby, seeing her tiny fingers, feeling her heartbeat close, but she had never imagined this, her in-laws walking in with cold faces, eyes empty of affection, carrying a brown envelope. Not flowers. Not congratulations. Divorce papers. The door swung open without a knock. Her mother-in-law, Samira, stepped inside first, her heels clicking sharply against the linoleum floor as if she were arriving at a meeting instead of a maternity ward. Behind her came her father-in-law, strict as ever, carrying the envelope as though it were an award. And last was her husband, Adil, avoiding Alina's eyes. Alina clutched her baby closer instinctively. A chill spread through her chest. She whispered, "What is this? Why are you all here like this?" Her mother-in-law didn't bother to hide her smirk. "We're here to end this farce," she said, brushing imaginary dust from her designer shawl. "Since you clearly couldn't give this family what we wanted." Alina blinked in confusion. "What are you talking about?" "I just gave birth to your granddaughter." "Exactly," Samira snapped. "A girl. Another burden. Another mouth. Another useless addition. We needed a boy. Our family needs a son to carry the legacy. And you failed." Alina's throat tightened. She looked toward Adil, the man she believed loved her, but he wouldn't even lift his gaze. Her father-in-law stepped forward and placed the envelope on her bedside table like a cruel offering. "These are divorce papers. Sign them," he said. "You don't belong in our family anymore." The baby whimpered gently, as if sensing her mother's fear. Alina stroked her daughter's cheek, her jaw clenching as she said, "You're abandoning us because she's a girl?" Her mother-in-law scoffed, "We're freeing our son from your defective womb and your stubborn, arrogant ways. You come from nothing. You brought nothing. Why should we keep you?" Alina lowered her eyes, letting their words pour over her like acid. For 2 years she had endured their insults, their control, their harsh judgments. They didn't know, because she had never needed them to know, that she came from one of the wealthiest private families in the country. A family that preferred quiet anonymity and had raised her to live simply, humbly, silently. That was why she married Adil, believing she had found a man who loved her for who she was, not what she had. She had hoped his family would come to accept her with time. Instead, they showed her exactly what they valued: money, status, and heirs. And now they thought she was powerless. Alina inhaled deeply. "And what about my daughter?" she asked quietly. "What happens to her?" Her mother-in-law waved a dismissive hand. "Leave her in an orphanage or take her where you came from. She's useless to us too." Adil finally spoke, his voice low but firm, "Just sign the papers, Alina." She felt her heart crack then, not because she was losing him, but because she ever believed he would protect her. She stared at the divorce papers. They had already signed everything. All that remained was her signature. Alina looked up at them, her eyes soft but unreadable. "Fine," she whispered. "I'll sign." Her in-laws exchanged a triumphant glance. Adil visibly relaxed. They expected tears. They expected begging. They expected her to collapse in despair. But she didn't. Her hand didn't shake as she signed. When they walked out, satisfied with their victory, Samira muttered, "Good riddance," and Adil didn't even look back. The moment the door clicked shut, Alina drew her daughter close and kissed her forehead, whispering, "They have no idea what they just lost, my love." She had planned to hide her identity forever, to live a life of quiet simplicity. But now, for her daughter's future, she would no longer stay silent. An hour later, the door opened again, not her in-laws this time, but a tall man in a charcoal suit, expression sharp yet warm when he saw Alina. Her older brother, Rayan. We heard, he said softly. The entire board knows you just gave birth. And then father found out what Adil's family did. He sent me immediately. Tears finally broke free, but not from sadness, relief, safety, the comfort of family she had tried to distance herself from. Rayan. I didn't want anyone to worry. He approached and placed a hand on her shoulder. Alina. You're our sister. You're the heir. And from today onward, you're not hiding anymore. What do you mean, heir? A nearby nurse asked, overhearing. Rayan offered a small, proud smile. My sister is the majority owner of the Monur Group, one of the largest private business empires in the country. Starting today, she officially takes over as CEO. The announcement goes public in a few hours. Alina's breath caught. She knew her father intended it eventually, but she didn't expect the moment to come like this. Does father really want me to lead? Rayan nodded. He said, and I quote, if my daughter can give birth alone while suffering cruelty, she can lead millions with strength. More tears streamed down Alina's face. She couldn't stop them this time. Her daughter made a soft sound, and Rayan gently touched the baby's tiny hand. And this little princess, he said warmly, has already inherited more than any grandson of that family ever will. Meanwhile, across town, Adil and his parents sat in their living room celebrating their supposed freedom. Samira poured tea with a victorious grin. Finally, our son can marry properly, she said. A woman from a good family. Not that useless girl. Adil smirked. Good thing we cut her before she became a burden. Then the television interrupted their laughter. A breaking news alert flashed across the screen. Monur Group announces new CEO, Alina Monur Khan. The photo displayed was unmistakable, Alina in the hospital room, holding her baby. The reporter continued, the newly appointed billionaire CEO has just given birth to her first child. Sources confirm she has legally separated from her husband's family due to alleged mistreatment following the birth of a baby girl. The room went silent. Stone cold silent. Adil's cup slipped from his hand, shattering on the floor. His father stood frozen. But Samira sputtered, "Tea, that can't be. That girl, she said she came from nothing." Her husband muttered, "Monur Group, that's one of the richest families in Asia. That means she, Adil felt his entire world tilt. He grabbed the car keys, fury and panic twisting his face. I'm going to her. I'll fix this. She's my wife, ex-wife, his father corrected weakly. But Adil didn't care, he rushed to the hospital anyway, his heart racing with greed and desperation. By the time he reached her room, 2 large security guards in black stood at the door. I need to see my wife, Adil demanded. She doesn't want visitors, one guard said flatly. Move. I said I need to see her. Alina's voice came from inside, calm, quiet, powerful. Let him in. Adil pushed past the guards and entered, panting. The room smelled of fresh flowers, expensive and extravagant, sent by board members and dignitaries. Rayan stood beside his sister, arms crossed. Alina looked radiant despite her exhaustion, confident in a way Adil had never seen. Alina, he breathed. Thank God. Listen, my parents, they were emotional. I was emotional. Let's forget what happened. We can start over. I want my family back. Alina laughed softly, not cruelly, just sadly. Family? You told me to sign the papers without even looking at me. You abandoned your daughter the moment you learned she was a girl. I didn't mean it, he stammered. You know how my parents are, and I know how you are, Alina interrupted. Weak. Greedy. Dependent. Everything I don't want my daughter to ever learn. Adil reached for her hand, but Rayan stepped forward instantly, his voice icy.